Someone once said about instructions, if first you don't succeed, try reading the directions. That is me. I'm not a directions type person. I've gotten much better at it. I'd rather do it, mess it up, and then ask my wife to do it for me. A type of person. No, not really, but you know what that is. But ceremonies are important. But yet the Lord's table is not a ceremony. Well, sometimes after I'll do a wedding ceremony or maybe even a funeral, someone else will come up to me and as if I had something really to do with it when all I really did was just bring out what the Word says. We'll say that was a nice ceremony, and I'm always thankful for that. But I often wonder what they mean by that. So this morning, I want to talk about the Lord's Supper and what is the point of it. Before we do, weddings, again, would be a ceremony, and two people come together in union to become one. And after years and years, sometimes they will forget why they got married in the first place. There was a lady who was walking down the street, and she came up to a homeless lady. And she went to this lady and said, I have $10. And if I give you this $10, are you going to take this $10 and go buy chocolate with it? The homeless lady looked at her as if she was nuts and said, well, one, I'm lactose intolerant, and two, I'm homeless and I'm hungry. I'm not going to just buy chocolate with that $10. And the lady says, well, I have another question for you. If I give you this $10, are you going to take it and go to the hair salon? And she looked at her and said, what are you, nuts? I'm homeless. I'm more concerned about where I live and what I eat. I'm not worried about the beauty parlor. She said, okay, I have one more question for you. If I give you this $10, are you going to take it? And are you going to go shopping with it? She said, lady, you're nuts. I'm not going to go buy something I don't need. I have needs. The wife responded, well, tonight I'm going to take you to dinner with my husband. She goes, oh, no, I couldn't impose you that. No, she goes, no, I'm taking you to dinner with my husband tonight because I want my husband to see what it's like to be with a woman who doesn't have chocolate, who doesn't go shopping, and who doesn't go to the beauty salon. That's bad, I know, but it's a Pastor Carlson joke. I had to put one in there somehow. And I haven't done that in a long time. But sometimes people forget why they get married in the first place. The point of the Lord's table is several. And we're just going to look at three, though, this morning. What does it mean? Why do we do the Lord's table? And in 1 Corinthians, Paul goes through and he deals with it. You've read the text, I'm sure, and if you haven't, go back and read it. We're not going to read the entire text this morning, but I am going to give you a couple highlighted thoughts from it. So I would encourage you to turn to 1 Corinthians 11. But there's a couple things about the text to remind yourselves. Paul wrote this instructions to the church, who was a real church in a town called Corinth. And the reason why he wrote them these instructions is because they weren't treating the Lord's table or communion as an act of worship. No, they were teaching it basically as a drunken feast, a drunken party. Paul in here says that it isn't that there isn't a place to get together and have fellowship. That's fine, but that wasn't the purpose of the Lord's table. What they were doing is those who had nothing were in the back, and those who had a lot were up front and were eating, and those in the back didn't have anything. He said, look, this isn't a mealtime. It's a meal, but it wasn't a meal in the sense that they thought it was. And what he does is he goes through and he reminds us. In fact, I quoted a couple things from Paul this morning, who was quoting Jesus, from the night in the upper room when Jesus and his disciples were having their Passover meal, which Joe read us this morning. And the instructions of our Passover meal, as you saw, were very, very detailed. And yet, the church at Corinth was forgetting the point of the Lord's table. It wasn't Passover. No, this is a new covenant. This was a different dispensation, if you will. This was a different time frame. What this was to be a couple things. Number one, it was to be a memorial, or a remembrance. And that's the first thing we'll look at in a few moments. Then it's to be participation. and then it's fellowship. So before we look at those three things, though, let's go